Hey guys, it is Nick here with another Nick's Topics Walking Dead What If topic video for you guys today, and today we are getting into part 12 of What If Lori Survived. Now, to recap the last episode, we are at the point where Carl attacks Negan's men at the sanctuary inside the truck. But this time, here's a big difference. Carl has two eyes still because he didn't get shot in the eye by Ron. So, instead of two men, I feel that he would maybe take out at least 3 or 4. But in the end, I still think Negan would not kill him because of how just... Negan liked kids, and he just liked how tough Carl was, per se. So I still think he would live. Meanwhile, Daryl is still outside and Carl sees him. But where's the governor? Well, from what the governor told Negan and basically tried to terrify him, now the governor is actually being forced to make torture chambers, which he said so himself that he did before. So, nice little callback there, except this time he's doing it against his will. Now, I feel that Carl and Negan's interactions throughout the whole thing, besides the fact that Negan wouldn't want to see his eye because he still has 2 eyes, would ultimately remain the same, all things considered, with Negan offering to drive him back to Alexandria and such. Now, since I feel that Rick and Aaron would still go on their own, that Lori would still be in Alexandria by herself. So, she is now wondering where the crap Carl is, because he kinda just up and left. Nobody really knows where he is, but Lori has an idea. Also, Jesus is on his own expedition to rescue Daryl and the governor. Now, one could argue that this would be infinitely more difficult because there's 2 people to rescue this time, but I would see either Daryl and the governor basically taking Daryl's route that he did in the original and killing Fat Joey, basically that, or Daryl does, and then they just rescue the governor from making torture chambers. But it would be definitely a very arduous task, to say the least, going back into the sanctuary. But I still feel that they would get rescued regardless. Now, what to do about Spencer and his meeting with Negan now that his mother is still alive? Well, this is where I hit a kind of a confusing point here with him. Now, one could argue that he just gets himself killed, again, because it's Spencer. One could argue that he lives because his mother's alive, even though his dad still died to the wolves. But I feel that before then, and Negan actually showing up, and while he's there, like, before Spencer goes to talk to him, that Deanna and Spencer would have a talk again, like the one they had about their far Reg and everything. But ultimately, I feel that even this talk wouldn't really amount to anything, because Spencer he didn't even listen to his own mom. So I don't see any good that the talk would really do to, like, change Spencer's fate here, or really mean anything to begin with. So I feel that Spencer would die here regardless, which, in turn, would cause Rosita to shoot Lucille, almost killing Negan, and basically all of that remaining the same. Now, who does Arat kill here? Well, this is where I hit another point where I was initially stumped. Because with Arat, she just shot somebody out of random and happened to be Olivia, and that was actually someone Tara was once again getting close to because she lost a niece. But I'm going to hit a darker point here for Tara's character in her own way. Instead of Olivia, who wouldn't really matter at all, the shot hits Alicia. Now this is definitely important, because Alicia initially was almost a pointless character because Tara and Alicia never really got together. It was almost destined to happen, but Alicia died to Lizzie and Mika. So I feel that her death here would be the actual first steps of Tara going into darkness. So the shot rings out, and Alicia is the target. Tara cannot believe what she just saw. This is her true first loss, pretty much. And it hits hard because they were a decent couple for a long time, even before Alexandria. And I feel that Eugene would still run his mouth, say he was the one who made the bullet to save Rosita's life. And definitely after seeing Alicia die and seeing how much she meant to Tara, he didn't want Tara to die, so he took the blame like he did before for both Tara and Rosita this time. Afterwards, and after Rick and Negan talk, they find out that Eugene made the bullet and everything. Lori and Rick have a talk about Carl and him going and basically having one of their couple talks. Ultimately, Lori and Rick solving things out like they did before, pretty much, and deciding that Negan, he has to die. He's gotten away with too much, even if he hasn't killed too many people. He still killed Glenn Abraham and people that they cared about. Meanwhile, at the hilltop, Daryl and Beth have a nice reunion since Jesus comes back with Daryl and the governor. And Daryl and Beth hug it out. Remember, Daryl and Beth still have a kid, so that matters a lot too. Now, we then get to the scene where Rick, Michonne, Lori this time, and everybody else appears at the hilltop, meet up back with Daryl and the governor, figured out they were rescued thanks to Carl, really, and Rick and Lori definitely know now why Carl did what he did, and actually appreciate him a lot more for that now. Gregory, unfortunately, is still being stuck up, basically Gregory being Gregory. The same idiotic person that he was before, not wanting anybody to fight. And instead of Tara basically getting made fun of for trying to make a point, and basically getting made fun of by Gregory, whenever she hears this, her first steps into darkness, like I said, because of Alicia's death, she just pulls out her gun and is so ready to shoot Gregory, but is ultimately stopped. Everything past that, I feel, would remain the same, up until the point where the group meets with Ezekiel, and meets back up with Morgan, since he's there, and asks Ezekiel and the kingdom to fight against the saviors. Now, I feel that with Lori and a bunch of other characters' influence, this would sway Ezekiel more, just not, like, to the motive that he was, like, in some of my other stories. I also think that Morgan would be more inclined to actually fight here. Not so much kill, maybe, as just to help, basically. Because, Morgan at this point still like, oh, life is precious. Basically Eastman's motto sticking in still, till he goes crazy again. Now, Daryl is still told to stay at the kingdom for risk of being found out by Negan and the Saviors. And ultimately, he still has to stay, although a lot of more people there are trying to fight to keep him, especially Beth, which she says that if he's going to stay, that she has to stay too, because, they're together. And that she's not going to leave him again after he was just trapped in a freaking place, forced to do bad stuff. The governor, on the other hand, he is also at risk of being found out, but nope. He is not going to allow Rick and anybody else to have a say in where he goes. And he tells him about basically being forced to make torture chambers, something that he long outgrew. And the group ultimately decides that if the governor wants to come, they need to be very, very safe about it, which ultimately turns out okay for the moment. But ultimately becomes scarier when Simon and the Saviors appear at Alexandria looking for Daryl and the governor. The governor, luckily, is able to be pushed into good hiding for the moment, and the Saviors leave. everything past that goes the same up until the point where Rick and the group find Gabriel at the junkyard and are basically about to make a deal with Jadis and the scavengers. Now, this is where the episode is going to end for the moment. What do you guys think is going to happen here? Do you think that with bunches of more characters here, that Jadis and the scavengers will actually be more willing to work with Rick's group and not turn against them? Or do you think that their stubbornness is just going to make things even worse in the long term of Rick's group? And that's where we leave things for the moment. Hope that you guys enjoyed this episode and are enjoying What If Laurie Survived as a whole. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think's going to happen later down the line as we dig deeper into the Savior arc? Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed and want to see more, and I will see you guys next time.